Compared to other market segments, large companies require fairly detailed capabilities in their CRM. So, which are the top 10 large company CRM systems in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP CRM digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, CRM selection, implementation, change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be the top 10 large company CRMs in 2024. So how do we define the large segment? In general, when you look at our market segments, we have divided this between your startup, small, mid-market, large. In general, once you have outgrown your mid-market segment, that's where you are probably going to require the large company CRMs. So at this stage, you are going to have roughly 5,000 employees or more. You might be closer to your 1 billion in revenue. So the kind of transactional processing power that you are going to require at this stage is going to be very different. Now, because your team size is going to be far richer, so you are going to have far more hierarchy in general in your team size. So the workflows that you're going to require are going to be fairly different as well. If you utilize these workflows as part of your small, mid-size, etc., then that is probably not going to be a good fit because you're going to feel that the processes are overbloated. But at this stage, if you have very light CRM, then you are going to feel that you don't have enough processes. So that's why the market segment matters from the CRM selection perspective. So if you are in the large market segment, these are some of the capabilities or systems that you should be looking at. So in general, when we look at our CRM bucket, you're still looking at all of those customer experience touch points. This is not necessarily your operational workflows or operational systems such as your ERP. They're still very CRM category. So the touch points that you are looking at, it's going to be your website, email, SMS. Then you are looking at some of the community-centric workflows. You might have field service-centric workflows or service-centric workflows, all of those call center workflows. So all of those are going to be bundled as part of your CRM bucket. And when you are looking at that omni-channel traceability, combining all of these systems together so that you can get the data that you are going to require for your sales ops planning, for your territory planning, that's what you are going to get from these systems because they are going to bring all of those data models together as opposed to operating in those data silos. So the capabilities that you're looking at this stage is going to be very complex territory. You might have your budgeting process, and for that budgeting process also, you are going to require a lot more data layers that might not be there with slightly smaller systems. You might have now CPQ processes, depending upon how large your team is, what your training model is. If you include that, then you need to make sure that your CRM is going to be able to support that. And to be able to support, you require far thicker data models in general. And then you might also require some of the AI capabilities now, as well as scalability, depending upon how you are planning for your sales process, depending upon how large you are, how many opportunities you are capturing, how many different contacts or deals you have in your database. So AI could be a great help as well. And in this particular market segment, you would probably require that. And some of the systems that we have in this market segment are probably going to capture all of those capabilities. So the criteria that we generally use to compile these lists is your product share. The acquisition strategy must be focused on this large market segment. And if they are not acquiring aligned to this large market segment, then typically they don't rank as well on this list. Then we look at product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as the investors. So these are some of the factors that we consider in compiling the list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is ServiceNow. In ServiceNow, you guys might not see ServiceNow as the CRM player, and they don't have a lot of market share in general in the CRM space. They were primarily focused on IT-centric workflows or the device or asset-centric workflows. They are very well prevalent in verticals such as your telecom because they are going to have much larger department from the IT service perspective, and they are going to have a lot more assets that they are touching overall from the customer experience perspective, from the industry 4.0 perspective. So all of those capabilities are combined as part of your service now. In general, this is going to be slightly more workflow automation layer that sits on top of your ERP systems, but now they are being used with the CRM workflows as well, just because of their customizability. So even the kind of low-code, no-code tool that you are going to have in the market, they are not going to be as sophisticated overall from those enterprise GRC processes perspective, or combining all of these data models together, or combining different hybrid technologies together. For example, let's say if you have to do the user security tracking between your OneDrive, which might be storage for your documents, or to your email, to your enterprise systems. So all of these systems might be combined as part of your workflow automation, and ServiceNow can help enable all of that. And in general, in the CRM category, you are going to have a lot of these workflows. So that's where ServiceNow really shines. So the other strengths from the ServiceNow perspective, especially if you are going to be in those data center or IT centric verticals. So in those cases, the CRM is going to have very industry specific CPQ that you are going to require as part of your processes. And then that CPQ has to be integrated with your operational systems. For example, let's say the data center, in the data center, you are going to have many different equipments. They are going to provide a lot of different data sets, and based on that, you need to take several actions, whether you are simply measuring the consumption or you are using that as part of your coding process. So these all workflows need to be accommodated. So let's say if you are going to be in that data center, IT centric, telecom centric business, then ServiceNow might make sense from the CRM perspective, because you are going to have far deeper capabilities in those in that quoting estimation process with the integration of these operational systems than in the other industries. So ServiceNow might be relevant there. So that's a great strength for ServiceNow in having those data-centric, IT-centric operational processes that are built as part of your ServiceNow system. The other strength that we have from the ServiceNow perspective is the workflow automation. Even though every single CRM system is probably going to claim that, but these guys are able to manage the workflow a lot more from the enterprise enablement perspective, where you have the whole GRC process, you have the hybrid technologies that you are sort of bringing together. So that's where the strength of ServiceNow is going to be. ServiceNow. Other strength that we have from the ServiceNow perspective is the enterprise security as well as customizability is going to be very enterprise grade in general. The other limitations that you have from the ServiceNow perspective is that they are not as well adopted as the CRM solution compared to other CRM systems on this list. So that's going to be a con for them. And then you are going to require substantial consulting help on ServiceNow, because it's a fairly technical system. So you're not going to have all of those workflows that you are going to find with several other CRM systems on this list. And then you would require far deeper enterprise architecture, IT expertise to be able to successful with systems such as ServiceNow. And then the upstream marketing workflows are going to be fairly limited as well. They are not going to be natively built as part of the platform. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Pegasystems. And Pegasystems is fairly similar to ServiceNow as well. They are known in the financial services, banking, insurance centric industries, where you are going to have heavy penetration of call center workflows. And in general, when you have those call center workflows, you are going to require far deeper, tighter collaboration with your telephony systems. You are going to have agent workflows, which are going to be fairly different in general from the customer experience perspective. So that's where Pegasystems is really strong. In general, it was known for slightly more BPM workflows, and that is the category even ServiceNow is attacking. So here, the strengths that you're looking at from the Pegasystems perspective is that you are going to have a lot more industry specific templates. You are going to have that BPM layer, low code, no code. So you can build a lot more enterprise centric workflows. And then you are going to have a lot of complex call center workflows that are going to be built as part of the tool itself. The other limitations that you are looking at from the Pega systems is it's a fairly complex IT system. So you would require expensive consulting help, just like your ServiceNow, to be able to enable these workflows. But again, you are looking at very enterprise grade capabilities. And in general, the large companies are probably going to require all of those because the kind of customizability that they are going to require, the kind of transaction volume that they are going to have, only the enterprise centric or enterprise grade systems might be able to handle that. And then the other limitation that we have with the Pega systems is very similar to your ServiceNow, that it's not as well adopted as CRM. They might be adopted as the call center workflow automation tool, but not as a CRM. So that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Lead Squared. And Lead Squared is a very interesting system. They are very industry focused. So you are going to find them in the large public sector education. You might find them in some of the banking, financials industries as well. So Lead Squared would be in that prescriptive category, even though they have been proven with the enterprise workloads in the large market segment. But again, the model that they have is very prescriptive. So let's say if you are going to be pure play public sector education, BFSI, where you don't necessarily see yourself outgrowing those business models, in those cases, Lead Squared could provide a lot of industry-specific capabilities that would require substantial consulting budget on top of your vanilla CRM. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Lead Squared perspective is number going to be customizable, but it's not going to be as customizable as ServiceNow, because ServiceNow Pega systems, they are essentially your programming languages that is slightly more technical model that they are trying to provide. So in general, in your technical model, you are going to have a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can build. Lead Squared is providing you slightly more business focused model that is going to be very different perspective. So generally, that is not as customizable as your technical systems in general. Number the other strength that you have from the Lead Squared perspective is it's very well adopted, proven among your large private public sector as well as educational companies. And then you are also going to have a little bit of student account management workflow, and generally that is going to be a requirement for the educational institutes. The student account management or the student cloud or the student information management system, they need to be tightly integrated, embedded with your CRM workflows. So that's where your Lead Squared is probably going to be handled. Number of limitations that you're looking at from the Lead Squared perspective is that they are going to have limited security layers, as well as the portal stability is something that some of the users have reported and not well adopted as the mainstream CRM. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 8. Now, number 7 on our list is HubSpot CRM. And HubSpot CRM is great for companies looking for those upstream marketing capabilities. In general, in this particular market segment, the scope of HubSpot may be limited just because they will not be able to handle all of those transactional workflows, the downstream workflows that most companies are going to require from the sales comp planning perspective, from territory planning perspective. They just don't have those data layers built as part of their model. So HubSpot CRM may not be the best fit in this particular market segment, and they are going to be fit alongside some of the other CRM systems, for example, either Salesforce or Microsoft, and the scope of HubSpot is going to be limited primarily from the marketing automation perspective. So the strengths that you're looking at from the HubSpot perspective is the overall marketing automation is very rich. In general, if that is the purpose why you are acquiring HubSpot CRM, this could be a great system. Ecosystem and integration, you have a lot of options available with your HubSpot CRM community. So you will find that if HubSpot natively cannot support those capabilities. And then if you're looking for that omni-channel traceability across all of your channels, that's where your HubSpot CRM could be a great fit. Number of the other limitations that we have from the HubSpot CRM perspective is that the customizability, that is going to be a primary need for this market segment. HubSpot is going to be fairly limited in that area. You are probably going to outgrow HubSpot fairly soon. So that's going to be a limitation. Then the operational capabilities are not as detailed as some of the other CRM systems. HubSpot CRM is not going to be as suitable unless you are using this only from the marketing automation perspective in this particular market segment. Having said that, HubSpot CRM could be a great option, and that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Zoho CRM. And Zoho CRM has some more operational capabilities compared to the likes of HubSpot CRM. But again, the data model is not as tightly connected as you are going to find with some of the other CRM systems. The apps that they have are fairly disjointed, disconnected. Even if you're looking at the global consolidation of your customer experience workflows, where you need to communicate across your geographic footprint. For example, let's say you might be present in 5, 6, 10 different countries, and you are trying to consolidate all of those customer centric workflows, then you are sort of keeping all of this data in one particular geography because with Zoho, they will not be able to communicate among their data centers. So, for example, let's say if you are a US-based company and you are keeping all of those data sets there, so your CRM processes you can consolidate, but you might not be able to consolidate all of those financial processes, even though they might have all of those capabilities built as part of their apps. So for the most part, you are probably going to run into those challenges when you are going to have very global footprint and you are looking to consolidate all of your customer-centric processes globally. That's where your Zoho CRM is probably going to be fitted. So the strengths that you're looking at from the Zoho CRM perspective is the data model is very similar to your Salesforce to be able to build all of those complex workflows. They also have very deep technical capabilities to be able to transport data from one app to the next, but these apps are very siloed overall from their data model perspective. They work independently overall inside the bag that Zoho is carrying. They are going to have very detailed capabilities overall from the sales scope and territory planning perspective. But again, since the data model is not as embedded, so you might run into challenges in enabling those features. But as such, they are going to have a lot more capabilities. In general, the user security layer is fairly robust as well. But the limitations, again, that you are going to run into more from the way their data model is designed, the way their design is from the app perspective, because they are primarily targeting the small and mid-sized companies. The large segment is probably not the right fit for them. But depending upon your use case, depending upon workflow, sometimes Zoho CRM could be a great fit even in the large market segment. And the other strength that we have from the Zoho CRM perspective is integration with the other Zoho apps. So if you are using a lot of Zoho apps for your workflows in general in this particular market segment, that need is probably not going to be as relevant. But let's say if you're looking to integrate this with your project management, that could be a great fit because they have all of those capabilities as part of their bag. The other limitation that you're looking at from the Zoho CRM perspective is not as integrated in the upstream ecosystem, marketing ecosystem. For example, let's say if you compare this with HubSpot, HubSpot is going to have far deeper integration, the omni-channel traceability from the upstream marketing perspective. Zoho is probably not going to have that. Zoho is also not as open compared to your HubSpot. If you are going to go to your data vendors, telephony vendors, they are probably going to recommend HubSpot a lot more. They are going to be integrated with HubSpot a lot more compared to your Zoho. It's not as well adopted, and it's also not as well adopted among large companies. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Creatio. And Creatio is a very technical system in general. So the right comparison of Creatio is going to be either your ServiceNow or Pega systems. So if you have very customizable workflows or your sales process is very off, if it doesn't appear like a traditional sales process, then you are probably looking at slightly more technical system to be able to enable those workflows. So this is going to be great for large companies with very customizable CRM workflows, and you are looking for those low-code, no-code capabilities to be able to enable those. That's where your Creatio is probably going to be a great fit. The other strength that you're looking at from the Creatio perspective is the customizable integration and ecosystem is going to be far richer. Deployment flexibility you have. So if you don't like the public cloud option, just from the licensing perspective, so you might have a little bit of savings here with respect to your deployment flexibility if you are planning to own that on your own. The other limitation that you're looking at from the Creatio perspective is the UI is going to be slightly on a clunkier side. It's not going to be as modern as the likes of your HubSpot or Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics. They are probably going to have slightly richer UI in general. The marketing automation is probably not going to be as intuitive as you are going to find with the systems that are designed for marketing automation, even though you have the technical layers that you will be able to build. But again, that would drive your consulting budget. You would require a lot more budget in general and expertise as well to be able to enable those workflows. And it's not as well adopted among the large companies. They are slightly more mid-market player. So that's going to be a limitation. And that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is SAP C/4HANA. And this is going to be for companies that are looking for that enterprise transaction volume in a very regulated industries where your customer workflows need to be controlled. For example, let's say if you look at medical device, pharma, in those cases, your CPQ workflows are going to be restricted based on several different factors that are going to be regulatory in nature. In financial services space as well, you are going to have a lot more restrictions in general that you need to enable as part of your CX workflows. And the smaller systems are not going to have those layers or the hierarchies to be able to enable those. SAP C/4HANA, you are able to, number 1, customize, and number 2, you are going to have all of those security layers that you can enable as part of your workflows. The other strength that you're looking at from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is the operational workflows are going to be far richer in general. To be able to implement those sales comm scenarios or the territory planning scenarios, those capabilities are going to be far deeper, far richer. The upstream marketing automation capabilities may not be as rich. The CPQ capabilities are going to be far richer as well. This SAP C/4HANA is going to have some integration with other solutions inside SAP. So for example, let's say if you're already on SAP C/4HANA, then it might make sense to utilize SAP C/4HANA just because you are getting those integrations pre-built. They might not work for your use cases, but you need to at least assess that, okay, if they are going to work, then that could be a huge advantage in reducing your consulting budget, implementation budget, reducing your project risk. Then the other strength that you're looking at from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is you are able to enable all of those complex regulatory workflows, the sales comm, territory planning workflows. You are able to do all of those. The other limitations that we have from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is the marketing automation capabilities. In general, you are probably going to utilize an external tool for marketing automation, which is probably okay, but you are probably not going to get as much embedded experience from the traceability perspective, the kind of data layers that you need to be able to keep, and all of those will require substantial consulting help to be able to enable those workflows and to be able to customize those workflows. The other systems are going to be slightly more intertwined with their marketing automation capabilities in enabling this with CMS as well as your operational workflows. Then the other limitations that you're looking at from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is the upstream marketing integrations, the ecosystem integrations with the marketing-centric vendors are probably not going to be there. So that's probably a limitation, and that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Oracle CX Cloud. Oracle CX Cloud is slightly more built overall from their CRM perspective, from the kind of traceability that you are going to require from the ad spend perspective, from CPU process perspective. So Oracle CX Cloud is slightly superior in its capabilities compared to your SAP S/4HANA, depending upon the kind of industries that you might be targeting. For example, let's say if you are in your retail-centric verticals where you have very consumerized workflows from your marketing automation perspective, from your customer experience perspective, that's where your Oracle CX Cloud really shines. You are also going to, for example, let's say if you are in telecom-centric verticals, that could be slightly more consumerized as well, where Oracle has much larger market share. If you are going to be in, let's say, public sector, not-for-profit, in those verticals also, Oracle has some of the products that are going to be highly intertwined with your CRM workflows. So that's where Oracle CX Cloud is going to shine. But the 3 strengths that we have from the Oracle CX Cloud perspective is the enterprise-grade marketing automation product that is tightly embedded with your CRM workflows, similar to your Marketo or Pardot, the way Salesforce is going to have. They have very enterprise-grade marketing or automation product. Then they also have the CPQ workflows that you can enable as part of your Oracle CX Cloud. Then they also have the field service workflow. So if you're looking at that omni-channel traceability, also from the field service perspective, this is going to be relevant in industries such as your oil and gas, in public sector-centric verticals. That's where you're going to require all of these capabilities to be able to bring it together. The limitations that you're going to run into from number three, Oracle CX Cloud perspective is the upstream marketing integration and ecosystem, and those are going to be very similar to your SAP C/4HANA and requires consulting help and change management that you probably would require that with Oracle CX Cloud. So that's number three. Number two on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. And this is going to be for companies that are looking for highly customizable CRM. So this is a very enterprise-grade system. In general, you can override whatever you want from the Microsoft perspective. So even though number three model that they are trying to expose from the CRM perspective is very business-centric, but then the customizability, number three, possible from the code perspective. The only difference between the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE is that when you are going to require all of those enterprise-grade customization, number three, you need to hire developers to be able to do that. With some of the other systems, for example, HubSpot, you might not need as many developers. Sometimes the marketers might be able to do these things as well. With Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE, you are looking at developers who need to do this. So that's going to be a real difference. But again, when you look at all of those enterprise grade scenarios, that's when your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE is probably going to be relevant. The strengths that you're looking at from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE is the strength of the Power Platform. And when you are going to have all of those custom apps that you need to build on top of your CRM, or you are looking at data gathering from the workflow automation perspective, you can do all of that as part of your Power Platform, which is a huge plus, in enabling workflows for service-centric industries, because there you are going to have a lot of ad hoc workflows where you need to gather a lot of data, you need to cleanse, you need to store, and then you need to report based on all of that. So that's going to be a huge plus from Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE perspective. And the other strength that you have from the Microsoft perspective is the data model is designed for very complex use cases. And then you have ecosystem and integrations. You are going to find a lot more add-ons as well as tools that are going to be pre-flavored for your industry. And sometimes they might work as is for your use cases. So that could be a huge plus, let's say, if you're looking for tools. The limitations that you're looking at from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE perspective is the upstream marketing capabilities. They are going to be fairly limited, and upstream marketing integrations, they are not going to be as many as what you are going to find with the likes of HubSpot or Salesforce. And then the learning curve is going to be fairly steep as well, because again, the data model is designed for those enterprise use cases. But in some industries where your sales process might not be as traditional, you might require all of that. So that's number two. Now, number one on our list is Salesforce, and Salesforce has very similar capabilities as your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE, which has very complex transactional model or the operational model to be able to build all of those complex customer-centric workflows. So this is going to be for large companies seeking enterprise-grade CRM suite. The strength that you're looking at from the Salesforce perspective is some of those industry templates are pre-populated for your financial services, for your education, not-for-profit. Those service packs, if you can use them as is, then they could be a great fit. But generally, they might not work as is, and you will still require a lot of consulting help to be able to customize those. And sometimes those customizability options may not be there on top of your service packs. So that could be a challenge. But if you can use them as is, that could be a huge plus, because otherwise you are looking at building all of those on top of the core platform. That could drive your consulting implementation budget. The other strength that we have from the Salesforce perspective is, it is highly customizable for those enterprise-centric use cases. And then enterprise territory and sales comp planning, that's where Salesforce really shines. The other limitation that we have from the Salesforce perspective is the marketing automation product not as embedded as the core CRM objects. So that's going to be a huge negative for Salesforce, especially if you require that intertwined experience with the marketing automation. That's going to be fairly disconnected. If you're looking for that website integration that needs to be enabled, it's not going to be as intertwined, even though developers might be able to do that, but that is going to drive your implementation consulting budget. So if you can afford that, obviously this is going to be a great platform. Otherwise, it's going to be fairly expensive. The other limitations that you are going to run into, even with Salesforce, is that the data model might not be as customizable for some of those relational use cases that you are going to find with the likes of, let's say, Microsoft, where the data model is, then you can override pretty much anything. You can extend those business objects and you can create whatever you want. But with Salesforce, that might not be possible because the way the data model is designed, it's slightly flattened, so you might run into some challenges there. So that's another limitation that we have with Salesforce, and that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include the link of an article that is going to have much deeper insights, so you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis, so if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you might want to do that if you don't want to miss. And this podcast is also available in the audio form on Apple, Spotify, so you might want to check there and subscribe. Also, we publish our digital transformation report, which covers a lot of insights and the list such as this, so you might want to check that. We are going to include the link of that as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.